Hey, everybody, welcome back to another edition of Printings Alive podcast. And today's episode is truly a little different than what you've been hearing in the past. I've got two incredible guests with me. I have Sean Swarner and I've got Niall Said. Sean was voted one of the top 8 most inspirational people in history. He's the only person to climb Everest with one lung. He's completed 7 summits, skied both poles, run 7 marathons in 7 days on 7 continents, and survived cancer twice. Just a small thing. I'm exhausted just saying all that and thinking about everything you've done. Alongside him, we've got Niall Said. He's the founder of Go One Up. He's a coach, a speaker who helps people and organizations unlock their true capacity and break through barriers. And together, the three of us are teaming up for something really, really big, the Ultimate Life Climb, where January 2026, we're leading a group to the top of Mount Kilimanjaro. I am super stoked for that one. This isn't just a trek, it's a transformation. And today you'll hear Sean's story, Niall's perspective on mindset, and why this adventure might change your life. So let's get into it. So welcome, folks. So today I'm just even taken aback just by having you guys on here. And Sean, everything you've been through, and Niall, what you do. So let's just go right into it. Sean, your story. You say it better than I would, so let's hear what it is.
I appreciate that intro, Warren, and you're right. We're all in good company because Niall's done some amazing things, and we just met. Everything I heard about you is just unbelievable. So appreciate the opportunity. I know a lot of people are kind of wondering if what I've done is even possible, because I had a friend who, her son, about 4 or 5 years ago, was in the 3rd grade doing a report on an inspirational figure. Submitted the report to the teacher. Teacher gave him an F, saying this so-called Sean Swarner doesn't exist. I was like, are you kidding me? I pick up the phone. I call the teacher. I'm like, hey, that report that you gave my friend an F for? He's like, yeah, Sean Swarner. I'm Sean Swarner. And they're like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I was like, all you have to do is just do a quick Google search. So you mentioned it. I've survived 2 terminal cancers. I was given 3 months to live the first cancer. I was given 14 days to live the second cancer. I was in a medically induced coma for a year of my life. I have 1 functioning lung, and my chances of survival was I had a 0.000000001% chance of survival. But I went on to use that trauma as my triumph. I went on to use that setback as my superpower to become the only person in history who's done what I've done. And I know we're going to be getting into Kilimanjaro, but I just recently got back from my 27th trip up the mountain. So
Wow.
I'm excited about this trip.
Wow. So just give us a little bit about the story and how you got into it. So you got sick, then you got a little better, then you decided I'm just going to change the world and go climb everywhere. I mean, the North Pole, the South Pole, this pole, that pole, that's a lot of, you covered a lot of ground, a lot of aeroplane mileage.
I've seen the world from the highest point on every continent to the 7 summits. I'm the first cancer survivor to climb Everest. I'm the only person in history to climb Everest, do the 7 summits, ski to the North Pole, ski to the South Pole. I've completed the World Championship Ironman triathlon in Hawaii. And as you mentioned, I did 7 consecutive marathons in 7 days on all 7 continents. I'm just glad that going back into the United States, the person at immigration didn't look at my passport and see where I went the past 6 days. They probably wondered, what's this guy smuggling in?
Yeah.
But it all stemmed from going through those 2
Right.
cancers and just reaching out to inspire other people and help them overcome their fears or whatever issues they might have in their lives, because there's a giant world out there to explore, and so many people are afraid to take that first step.
Were you an athlete before, a trekker, a climber, or anything before you were diagnosed?
Climber, no. I was a competitive swimmer. In fact,
Okay.
I still have records from like 1988.
Wow.
That hopefully will never be broken. But then they cut into my right lat muscle to remove the tumor. Now I just swim in circles.
By the way, there's nothing better than being
Come
able to
on.
laugh about something serious, right? So that's a good puts a good perspective. Niall, what's up with you?
What's up with me? I'm going to first add one thing. First of all, thank you, Warren, for having us. Uh, um, one of the greatest things when I first met Sean, what inspired me was his initiative in what he does for other survivors, cancer survivors, and those that have been touched by cancer. Years ago, again, as we developed the Ultimate Life Climb, I reached out to him. I said, I love your mission. I love what you do. How could I support you? Him and I just established a conversation. But before I go into a little bit more of what I do, Sean, do you mind sharing a little bit more about um, the Hope Initiative?
Absolutely. It's actually called the Cancer Climber Association, and one of the reasons that we've done it for so many years is the idea and the concept behind it is the Cancer Climber Association pays for a survivor's trip every year. And then it's the responsibility of that survivor to raise funds for next year's survivor, paying it forward. So it's really cool, really interesting putting those two survivors in touch with one another so they can discuss their journeys, not only the cancer journey aspect, but also the journey up the mountain. And then with my wife, I don't know, now you didn't mention that, I'm going to throw that out there too, but there's just an added component because in the past 7 years, my wife created a charity, and every time I'm on the mountain, she has actually supported 100 orphans with food and supplies for the entire year.
Wow, cool, cool. Something about doing and giving and helping, eh? Makes you feel really good about yourself, and it's nice to see others, have something that they didn't have before.
Yeah, and
So
it's so interesting because when you do give back and you initially start doing something like that, you think in your mind, I'm going to help these people, I'm going to give them so much. When in actuality, she and I have received more from them than we've been able to give.
that's the payback, so to speak, right? You pay it forward, and it comes back to you. You got to be. Listen, I'm a big believer in karma in life in general, and you get more from doing good and helping people. And it's not about getting anything back, but when you do things, it does come back, right?
Yeah.
I even remember just suggesting to a couple people where to go for a few different things, and then them calling me back and just saying to me, "Wow, thank you so much." And it was for no other reason than I knew somebody, and put them in a really good place. And if I always say that if everyone doesn't help anyone, where the hell are we all going? Because the world's getting rather complicated. It's anxiety ridden, stressful, right? It's every day is harder and harder to get through the day just with what's going on. But Niall, give us your story.
Well, again, through my initiatives or my personal experiences, I was, again, first of all, fascinated with what Sean has done and what you shared with your story, and many people that have experienced highs and lows. In recent years, I also experienced a real low, and my entire nervous system broke down to a point where I couldn't function. This was near impossible. I couldn't speak to people, I couldn't function, and so on. The fact is, I didn't see the warning signs. And to this day, I pray and wish, I don't wish that upon anyone. I want people to be able to know that they can catch the warning signs and be able to build their own personal capacity. And with that, and that's where I move the coaching in and strategic coaching and work with people. But the reward, just as Sean touched on, and you've just touched on, the reward of seeing people recognize and have that self-awareness to be able to break through their limitations or limiting beliefs or live beyond what they think their potential is a huge idea and mission of mine. And to be able to lock arms with Sean and yourself now to be able to extend that forward with what Ultimate Life Climb is. And it's not just a climb, and we'll get into that, but the idea is what we can learn within ourselves and how we can take things to another level, not only serve ourselves, but the other people in our lives, the people we care about, the people we live for, the people that we are neighbors to, the people that we work with. When we're more whole and have the capacity, we're able to take and really influence not only ourselves, but those around us. That's what's going to make the world a better place. That sounded like some old commercial, but that's exactly how it feels when you're able to recalibrate and really shift your life in a positive way.
And it's really, I think it's easier to help others when you're in a good place. If you're not in a good place, well, how good are you for other people?
Right.
right?
Right.
It's so me personally, I am stoked. I can't even tell you how stoked I am about this whole thing. I've done hiking in the mountains, but never really trekked until 2022. And a buddy of mine asked me to come, and we went to Nepal, and we went to Amit Dablam, and it's a trek up to 15,000 feet, and it was 5 days up, 4 days down or something, and staying in all the different places. And we did the luxury version where I got like a hot water bottle under my blanket. That's the extent of luxury. But the every day, the walk, the mountain, the look, the kids in the villages that you meet along the way, they're smiling and are happy. It gave me a whole other outlook on life. These folks have nothing, and they're happier than most of the people I know. Right. And that was just a keep going. And then I'm walking up alone, and I'm just looking around, and you're above the clouds, and you're looking at the mountains, and you're looking up at the peaks. And it's like God's wonder. And I remember when we started on the trek, a friend of mine I was with had done it. He said, as soon as we go around that corner, you're going to see Mount Everest. And I was like, Mount Everest. Like, what do you know about Mount Everest? Movies, TV, National Geographic. Well, we turned that corner, and I saw the peak, and I saw the snow blowing off to the right side of it. And I thought, oh my God, this is a National Geographic moment. And it was just, wow. And then there was 100 other things. And then one of the most exciting moments on that trip was we got to the base camp. And actually, I was going to do a whole piece about getting up there and making a whole motivational speech to record for later on, and I couldn't do it. I got up to the top. I had tears coming down my eyes. I just couldn't believe that I got it. I couldn't believe the people that I was with. And then we look over, and my friend sees an expedition set up, and it's Nims Diaz. And I didn't know Nims Diaz before then, but my friend did because he's a trekker. And I said, who is that? And he said, well, that's the guy who did, I think it was 14 or 18, 8 exactly of the top peaks over 8,000 meters in 7 months. So we asked the guide, is he here? And he said, I don't know. And the next thing you know, we're standing there, and Nims Diaz is walking out of the tent to come greet us. And this was the point and the moment that really got to me. When he came out, he said, gentlemen, I'm in the middle of a meeting. I don't have a lot of time, but you wanted to meet, and I want to meet you. So we spoke for a few minutes, grabbed the picture, and he went back in. And I thought to myself, wow, here I am 15,000 feet up. Popular dude comes out of a meeting to meet us. He doesn't know us. What did that teach me? People are just people. It doesn't matter who you are, what you do. It's just about respecting everyone else. And that was like,
Absolutely.
that was just killer moment, and then to have the picture with him, and then, the movie came out, it was on Netflix, his book signing and all that other stuff. So, wow. And then now to, meet you guys, and then have the opportunity to go to Kilimanjaro, which is, I have one friend who's done it, and she's also, I think she's is 10 years now, or almost 10 years cancer-free, breast cancer. And she did that. And when I told her, she was like, oh my God. And she goes, well, who are the people? Because she knew all the names, I guess. There's like 1 or 2 tour companies there, maybe. And I was just like, oh my God. And then, wow. And then we're talking about it. And then when it came up, I'm like, I'm in. What do we got to do? So, together, we got to get 10 great people that are looking for some change in their life to experience something else and to join us. And wow. So just whoever, jump in, tell me a little bit more about it. Like, I mean, you've done it, so get me more excited.
We have done it. I think, Sean, I'd like you to go with this next part, if you don't mind, because for considering your experience in climbing it too, we both have the experience, but the depth that Sean provides is incredible. But why did we do this?
Well, I was going to say, Warren, it's really cool you met Nims. He's an interesting guy, and I have a lot of celebrity climber friends. The world's the climbing industry is a pretty small world. And well, there's only one of us who's climbed Everest with one lung, so they're like, oh, that's Sean, which is pretty cool. And going back to what Niall was saying, it's the trip up Kilimanjaro is different than going up to like Everest Base Camp or Alma de Blanc Base Camp or even Annapurna Base Camp. because when you're surrounded by the highest mountains in the world, like you were in the Himalayas, it is a very, and correct me if I'm wrong, it's a very spiritual feeling, because you feel absolutely microscopic when you start looking around and you're on a plateau at 15,000 feet and you're surrounded by mountains that are 26,000 feet and higher. It's just an amazing experience. And then also with the culture, you have the Sherpas there, and the Hindus and Buddhists, and the beautiful stupas that you have to walk around, and the prayer wheels that you spin. Jumping to Kilimanjaro again, I love the culture is there as well, because I've been going for so many years, and I've used the same guides, the same porters, the same locals, the same everything for the past 26 trips. I didn't use them the first one, but I was adopted into the Chugga tribe, which is a tribe at the base of Kilimanjaro. And it's interesting because now whoever goes with our groups, they're not just considered a client. They don't want to go up the mountain, go down the mountain, and get paid. They want to spend time with us because they actually consider me a brother of the family. So they will call you in Swahili, it's kaka. I know in English it sounds like something completely different, but that means brother in Swahili. They will call the females dada, which means sister in Swahili. So they literally treat us like brothers and sisters, like family members. So it's not just a trip up and down a giant hunk of rock, it's a transformational experience involving so much culture. And these people have just been such great friends of mine for years. I've seen their kids grow up. I've seen one of them was just a quick funny story I just thought of. I was up going from camp 1, 2, 3, camp 3 to camp 4 after we went over what's called the Bronco Wall. And I had a friend who was listening to a radio. And in Swahili, they were talking about his brother who was being ordained.
Ordained.
He was becoming a father in the Catholic Church. And my buddy started laughing hysterically. And I was like, what's going on? And he's like, well, it's literally his brother. And he was like, okay, well, the radio just said that because of the amount of time and effort and dedication that he has put into the church and the studies, he can no longer be called by a certain name. It's now Father Emmanuel, not Kaka Ima. And he was laughing. He's like, he's my brother. I'm not calling him Father anything. So it's just those little things that you'll experience along the way that bring you more into the culture, as well as what Niall gets into in understanding that it's not an expedition. You actually go more inside yourself, because it is a literally transformational experience. And I would say the average success rate of the mountain for most groups on the mountain's average is 48%, where our groups are at 99% success rate.
Wow. Cool.
Things are done a little bit differently, a little more enjoyable, and we're the only group on the mountain singing, dancing, having a great time, telling jokes, and I kid you not, the summit becomes a byproduct of having fun.
Well, that's the way to do it, right? It's fun along the way, learning from people, meeting people, knowing people even better. And I think what's nice, or what's nice also, is when you get a group together, they're pretty much strangers, right? Because you can't always get all your friends to come at the same time. That's where you get to know people a little better. That's where you have a better understanding of life. You have a little bit more empathy, compassion for others afterwards. And you learn how to respect yourself a little more, because you're interacting with so many different people.
Absolutely.
It's wow. I mean, Nepal, even, all the people, I mean, they welcome you into their homes. As you're walking by, they're bathing their kids in a little pot outside the house, right? You got the yucks walking around, and you're moving out of the way as they come down the mountain. Guys are carrying mattresses and fridges up the mountain on their back. You start to realize, like, oh my God, I'm not going to complain about much anymore. And they just keep going. So wow. So, okay, so
Yeah.
Niall.
I'm going to support this and what you've just said here. The idea is, again, and I'm going to correct me if I'm wrong, Sean, and so on, but we, based on our research and so on, don't believe that there's anything like what we're doing. Not to segment to this as being the thing that people need to do, but we believe that they should. We're not just climbing. And as Sean mentioned, we are what we would position this as an outward adventure with an inward journey. And that's what we've created we've coined the term of inspedition. It's not an expedition, but it's an inspedition. And it's all within ourselves. Just like, and if we were to reference Mount Kilimanjaro as a metaphor for life, we're going to be faced with challenges, unexpected elements, self-doubt, all of these things. Some things we can't control, not only on the mountain, but in life. But with the proper training, the guidance, the way that we can come together and build towards not just climbing. And again, climbing, getting to the summit is a byproduct of what we would actually be able to find and achieve within ourselves, period. And that's what we've recognized quite time and time again. Sean's done this a number of times. And as we've developed Ultimate Life Climb, this is what we found. We found that this is way more than of a personal development journey, wherever you're coming from whatever you're coming from. If you're a successful CEO to a teenager that wants to find their direction, there is an opportunity because we're always trying to seek out and find out more within ourselves. And that's how we're going to break through the possible limitations within our lives, or break through the so-called limited potential that we have and break through that so we could see what's possible on the other side. And that's what we do. And as Sean mentioned, 99% success rate. The reason why is because we really do care. We want people not only be successful in reaching the summit, but at the same time tap into those values and characteristics within each individual. It's not all the same. Each individual to tap into their own personal genius, to be able to break through the limiting beliefs, the self-doubt, the unexpected elements. I don't remember, the temperature at the base is quite warm.
Oh.
By the time we get to the summit, it's chilly. We prepare you. And obviously with gear lists and all of that, not only with gear lists, but with training. And there's insights to that. But as we go through every single day, there's more that we can build upon when it comes to what we've grown from, not only with the past years of our lives, but yesterday. And when we could do that with other people we become friends with, and we obviously care deeply about whoever we climb with and whoever we meet, that takes it to another level. And again, Sean will attest to this too. I bawled when I got to the summit. The incredible, it's just the emotion. And you don't think that you could move to that level or dig that deep or find that true deep purpose within yourself. And then all of a sudden you shine. And you don't have to shine towards the world or for the world, but shine within yourself and for yourself takes your life to another level. And that's what's incredible about what human potential is. So I may have gone off on a tangent, but I really wanted to share that.
I'm sitting and I'm listening and I'm shaking my head because it's exactly what it is. Every step of the way up. And we were four buddies together. We had two guides. The porters carried the bags ahead or wherever. We were spread out. I mean, the walk, right? It's a little flatter and more laid out and uphill, but everybody was walking at their own pace. Everybody had their headphones on, some music sometimes not. And you're just doing this all in your own thoughts, right? And that's the killer because, for me, any thought I had that really wasn't good or positive, I pushed right out because you're hiking up the mountain, man. There's no room for any negativity. And
But
then,
we can't help it. We can't help as humans because
right.
we're creatures of habit, first of all, and we're social beings. So we're also then in our own minds. We can't help but let those things do seep in our minds. But again, there's a way we know this, of reconditioning and being able to have these moments and experiences, like even one person that feels as though they can't and they're not able to walk around the block, but it takes one step. And every single step in the right direction with a supportive team, for example, or the right guidance or support or the right path and the expertise. And I'm not saying I'm talking about life right now, just life. With that in mind, You build the confidence and a better understanding of what your potential is. And that's what's so great about what I feel proud of what we've created here and be able to bring to the table. Again, you were talking about, you're within your own head and so on. We pride ourselves in the idea that we are playing music on a mountain. We are engaging with each other. We're checking in with each other. We naturally, as social beings, will check in with each other to see how we're doing, because we don't want to let anyone fall behind. And if they are struggling, or if they are having a moment, this is where we lock arms and we engage, because no one should be left alone.
No, and
Ever.
it's probably, I mean, of all that team building exercises out there that companies do, and, all the planners, this is the team building exercise of all. You're with people that you don't know. Me as a human, I mean, I see people on the street not well. I want to stop and help them. I don't always, probably should, but for other reasons I don't. But, going up the mountain, it's like I'm big into fishing. And when you're on the water, I don't mess around. I'm in the boat. I have people in my boat. I am responsible for the people in the boat. And if something should happen, you deal with it. If something should happen to someone in another boat, you stop what you're doing and you're going over there to help them, because that's what you're supposed to do. And I don't know that everyone always thinks that way, but all of a sudden when you find yourself in those situations, you do it, and then you feel what you feel after, and it changes the way you've done things before.
I'm going to add, I respect the fact that not everyone would be able to put themselves aside to help someone in a moment. We go through a lot. This is what I spoke about earlier about having the personal capacity to do more. I don't want anyone to fall into the trap of burnout or not having enough within themselves, first of all, to survive themselves, let alone serve others. This is natural. We're human. But at the same time, when we can find the personal resolve and resources to be able to better ourselves mentally, emotionally, and physically, so we can serve first ourselves, not to be selfish, but personally, we need to take care of ourselves, and then to be able to extend that service to others. Again, whether you're a parent, a brother, a sister, a leader, a colleague, a neighbor, it doesn't matter. And this is where these global and universal principles of values and potential come into play. And that's why we're really love working with people, on and off the mountain, but at the same time, working with them so they could really tap into their own personal genius. And I mentioned that before.
Yeah, no,
No,
it's oh my God, I can't, my head is just spinning with excitement even now. I'm just thinking like, and I don't think most people have had an opportunity to do a lot of different things like this, right? Some people, they travel a little, they go on a little camping here and there, but this is one of world's wonders, one of the elements of the world that you want to get to see. And I can't encourage enough people to look a little bit within themselves and think about it. And if you like National Geographic, like there's a lot of pages in that book that you're going to see if you come on this trip. And then the feeling when everybody gets to the top at once together, right? The accomplishment of everyone being together. And I mean, when we were 4 people and the guide, it was hugging and laughing and high-fiving and tears. And then we just sat down for 45 minutes just by ourselves, and everyone just took in the air, had a sandwich, and okay, pack up, we're starting our walk down. Right? And it was just, and as I'm walking down, I'm looking back up, and the whole way I keep looking back up, and I'm going like, oh my God. And even the 1,000 pictures I took, like I lived through the pictures, but they don't do justice. So anyone who could have an opportunity to do something like this and then have that image embedded in your head forever, wow.
it's interesting that we're not really talking about the mountain very much, which goes to speak about the trip itself. Because if people are interested in just standing on the roof of Africa and checking it off their list, their bucket list, this isn't the trip for them. And in all honesty, I don't want someone like that on this trip.
Right.
I've had people approach me before, and I won't mention names, but some are very, very credible. And
You could if you want, by the way. No, I'm just kidding.
yeah, I could.
No, don't.
Let's just say
The Joker
one.
side of me.
Yeah, no, I could. One of them was a very famous model, and I told my wife, well, she's thinking of going. And first of all, my wife just said, good luck with that. And then secondly, I wrote back to her saying, well, why do you want to do this trip? And she said that she wanted to go and get some Insta pictures and do the gram and everything else. I'm like, well, you might want to find someone else. That's of zero interest to me. Yes, I want to get those pictures, but it's not about checking a
A
list
box.
off. Yeah, it's not about checking a box. It's about leaving with a new perspective of what's possible in your life. It's literally standing on the roof of Africa with like fathers and sons, or mothers and daughters, or fathers and daughters, or mothers and sons. You know, it's all sorts of different types of people, and it's not those who are just interested in, like you said,
The
checking off a
picture.
box.
Yeah.
Not at all. So if you're interested in that and you're listening, please stop listening now, because the rest of this isn't going to speak to you anyhow.
Yeah,
You know,
no.
we're
It's
looking
like
at people who want to make a
right.
difference.
It's like the people who take the helicopter to Everest Base Camp and then want to summit. You lose the whole thing of what it is, right? Because you need the whole journey in order to live the experience, right? And
Correct.
yeah, and Kilimanjaro. I mean, it's a nice picture that you see everywhere at the top. And I want to get up there, but I know what's in the path on the way up, and I want to try the
It's the
different.
path.
It's the
It's
path.
the path, and
It's the
it's the
journey.
path.
It's the
It's
journey.
the journey.
It's like when I go on big fishing trips and out to the Seychelles or something, and it's 45 hours to get there, and it's 5 planes and a boat and a whatever. My friend said, "Hey, what kind of trip are you going on?" I go, "Dude, it's not a trip; it's a journey. It's not even about the fishing. The fishing is the bonus." But everything along the way and going and getting and seeing and specking out new places that people haven't really been is off the charts. And to me, this is exactly the same thing. Just, you go and you do and you push it. Everyone says to me, "Oh, I would never fly 45 hours to fish." I said, "Well, that's because you don't know what good fishing is in the right place." And, you're on a little Astov in the middle of the Indian Ocean where, what do they tell you? If you don't have global rescue insurance, you're not allowed to go. Because if they got to come get you, someone's got to foot that $8,000 helicopter bill to fly you in and fly you out. And even getting the global rescue insurance made it more exciting, right? Because it took it up a level of, I've never had to do that before. Don't tell your insurance company you're going, because if they don't know, it doesn't matter. But, you go out. And then even when I bought it for the year, not for 7 days or 12 days or a month. And everywhere I went, I'm like, okay, anybody could pick me up if I have a problem. I'm a global rescue, customer. But
There's also
but
peace
it's
of
great.
mind, right? There's peace of mind there too, knowing that you're not going to now be limited and holding yourself back in what you can do because you put the extra measures in place. Just speaking of
Yeah.
that example.
No, it's just that you listen. You want to do everything. Even when we went there, it's like I had a bag. My pharmacy, I had everything I could possibly think of that I might need. From a Band-Aid to a heartburn to stomach medication to whatever it is, because you can't turn around and they're not giving it to you. So just the whole preparation of going on a trip like that. So even what do we do before we go? Like with the group, we have meetings, we Zooms, we talk, we get to know each other, we pack. What's the normal course of action?
Well,
You're just left on your own. You figure out your way over there. It's a long swim, but you might make it.
If you don't mind sharks, you're okay.
Hey, you're good. If you start now, you might be able to make it by January.
Exactly.
No, you
this,
get everything, absolutely everything, in bite-sized chunks. Because if you're drinking from a fire hose, it's not going to work. You're not going to retain that information. So you get every Tuesday, about 8 to 10 weeks leading up to the trip, you get a Tanzania Tuesday email that gives you the information from training at home to how do you get your visa to what happens when you arrive at the airport. Do I get a cab? It's all broken down. It's so simple. Anyone can do it.
Cool. Yeah.
yeah.
Listen,
And if I could add with
add
the,
everything you want to add.
sorry, I just wanted to share. If you want to talk about technical and literally tangible, not tangible, but things that we could reference, Sean and I developed an entire membership portal for every climber that joins us. From there, you're going to get an entire media library that has video of Sean and I talking about everything from what snacking should look like and sleeping and preparation. You get an entire preparation plan, a training plan. Even if you enroll 8 weeks prior to the time that we depart or have to land, this is an 8-week training program. The entire, very detailed, based on experience, not just a shopping list, but a very extensive gear list. And why? even the very particular items are important because you do want to be prepared. We are arming anybody and everybody we work with, and we want them to be successful, not only on the mountain but off the mountain too, and that's why. And as Sean mentioned, we give them we have the Tanzania Tuesday, and we also have, again, a number of different components. We're always accessible, and we have the full itinerary. Again, we do this over 7 days. Sean, what are the average climb dates that others that you found that you've come across over your years?
Well, it's interesting because you can do it in 4 days, you can do it in 9 days, and the people who do it in 4 days think, oh, I'm just going to get up and down the mountain. They're like 25% success rate, and those are the ones who want to check that box. Warren, I've had people who've signed up with another company and they've reached out to me asking me, well, can I have a gear list? What do you suggest for this? And I for the first 10 people who've done that, I'm like, yeah, well, here's what you should do. But eventually I'm like, well, you should ask the people that you signed up with. And no offense, but I don't have time to walk you through what we could have done from the beginning.
Well, I'd be a little concerned if the people I signed up with didn't have a list for me, right? Like right then and there, you got a problem coming.
It happens all the time. And here's the
Wow.
thing too. So many people, they're like, oh, well, I can find it cheaper somewhere else. You get what you pay for. And here's the thing. If you go with a budget group, I guarantee you not everybody on your trip, the porters and stuff, they're not getting paid.
Oh no! Listen,
which means if they're not getting paid, they're not being valued as they should be. First of all, considering this endeavor in itself, and secondly, it's the idea of, just like we know, okay, if somebody is on part of the team, if they're not part of the team, equal value, how will they show up?
Listen, when we went to Nepal, my buddy who I mentioned, who's done it before, he said to me, okay, we're going. And he goes, this is the tip stuff. He goes, but for Katka, which was his name, and for the porters, he says, I'm doing extra. We brought them cell phones as gifts. Now, they had a cell phone. They were going to take the cell phone and sell it, and that's cool. Whatever works for them. All their meals we picked up during the week because if we're standing in line, if we stop in at one of the villages we're eating, and it's peanuts in general, but for them, it's huge, right? And they don't make a lot of money. And most of the people I know on these trips, they'll spend $300 on a bottle of wine, but they won't give a $300 tip. And I'm thinking no, that doesn't work. And I don't want to be part of anyone who's like that. It's what do they need? If I could, I leave, I've gone fishing in the Seychelles. I've left my fishing boots. I've left everything except my fishing rod, my fly rods, with the guides that were there because they're on the ass of the island for 3-4 months with no access. Things break, things rip. And it's just also to say, just thank you. I appreciate you and recognize you.
One thing I want to add also, Sean talked about the team and the logistics of what we have in place here. He's not only built an incredible relationship with them, but they're accredited guides. You have to be accredited. There's very much, this is I don't even know what the stat is of how many people have climbed Mount Kilimanjaro in the world. It's still a small percentage. At the same time, it needs to be done with respect and with consideration to expertise and experience. And that's where we take this very seriously. This is not our face or reputation on the line only.
You don't mess with Mother Nature.
You don't mess with it. And you need to be recognizing and respecting that. And that's why they have the depth and the experience. Over 1,000+ climbs collectively is the experience that our team has. That's incredible. And I bow to that incredible feat, but it's also because they're accredited and credible to do this safely, wisely, with consideration to every single climber, whether they're part of us or not, but they have to be, and they should be.
They take it
and
seriously.
That's why when you go on something like this on a budget, please reconsider.
Don't go.
No, it's like anything else that's big and real, right? That things come up, and if you're there on a budget, then you got to have a couple of grand in your pocket, anyways, just to be prepared that if something does come up. First of all, you don't go all the way over there or anywhere else that far. not prepared for something to go sideways, or an extra flight, or this or that, or blah blah blah. Right? It never is what you anticipate. It's like building, right?
Yeah.
You do some construction at home. Whatever the budget is, you're putting on 20% because you know there's going to be some overruns, right? It's
Well, you're on
sorry.
African time too, and we have so many contingency plans. If Plan A doesn't work out, there are 25 other letters in the alphabet we can use.
Right. Yeah,
You know,
things change. Listen, things change on the mountain as you're walking.
oh,
Right.
All the
absolutely.
time.
This past trip, we had people come over to our groups when our tents were set up. They saw our tents, which were better than everybody else's because they were bigger. We have cots. We're not sleeping on the ground. People would come over and they'd pass us on the trail and be like, "I want to be with them." And they've heard like, "I want to be with you guys. I want to hike with you guys," because we're fun. We have a good time.
Right.
And
Yeah.
because of the camaraderie that I've developed with the locals, like I said, my family, every time I come off the mountain, I buy the porters and guides and everybody a beer, a pop, whatever it might be. And it could potentially be this past trip, I think we had 50 or 60 locals, right? We don't need that many, but we bring them just because they need us more than well, it works the
Everybody
same
needs
way.
everybody
We
at the
need
end
them,
of the
right?
day. Right.
So this past trip, we had some things happen. We took a helicopter off the mountain. I made a phone call to the guy who owns a helicopter company. I'm like, dude, we need to get off the mountain. No problem. The porters they were first concerned about that person's health, but because we were in the helicopter as well, the rest of the group, they were concerned about how are we going to celebrate with Sean? How am I going to get my beer? How am I going to get my pop? And so then they literally came to the hotel, and around the corner of the hotel, there's a little pub, and everybody showed up. The guests that we had with us, our friends, the locals, we had a great time celebrating together.
Yeah.
And
Listen, our porters and guide, they joined us for every meal that we had. Like they'd say, okay, you guys go over there and eat. And we're like, no, come sit with us. We're all together. This isn't about that, and we have taken everybody's oxygen together, and tea at the end of the day, and everyone went to bed early and wake up and breakfast and laughing along the way. And even now, I get happy birthday. We're friends on Facebook. It's been a couple of years, but still communicate. When are you coming back? And you mentioned kids. You see their kids in the pictures grow up and going, and it's wild. It's listen, just from my work and my travel, just to have friends around the world is pretty cool, right? That you could just speak to. And then when you get into other places like this, and it's even just cooler because you're going deep within with, you say, regular people, because they're the people of the country. It's not, any elitist stuff or stuff like that. But and when you get to the top as a group, like, tell me what everybody's feeling is. Like, what are they saying when they get to the top and in the accomplishment?
like you said, when you arrived at the base camp, and like Niall said, when he got up to the top, everyone's in tears. I don't care how tough you are, how strong you think you are. I led a guy up who was the first active duty Marine to the summit. And he was just a babbling little baby with tears coming down his face. I've been up there 27 times. I still cry like a baby. What's funny is how people try to cover it up because they think they're tough. The guy from the Marine, his name was Ben. And he comes up to me. He's got tears in his eyes. He's like, it's such a long way down.
And it's worse when you
Everyone
try to
is
hold it
emotional.
in,
It just gets
But you know
worse.
what? You can't even help that. Like, the point is, because of the journey, because what people have go through when it comes to such a thing, you can't help but feel this overwhelming sense of maybe joy. It could be joy. It could be disbelief. It could be this deep sense of purpose, or there's so many different emotions
just
in every
awe,
single
just
person.
like, oh my God, and
But all within themselves,
yeah.
thinking, I can't believe I did this. And you know what? You did do it. First of all, they did it. Like, everybody that successfully climbs with us, they've done it. But what helps is that they're not only doing it alone, and that's just like life. The fact is, you could do so much when you lock arms with people and know that you can move with an intention, a guiding principle, and some direction of what's possible in a particular way. When all people are on the same page and they support each other, that's just like metaphor for life in itself. You're able to get to your destination, your goal, your ambition in some way or another together. More, not maybe less, with less effort, not effortlessly. But again, it becomes more enjoyable and it becomes more achievable. And it becomes a little bit more of a, this is possible, or I'm unstoppable. And imagine taking that home. Imagine bringing that back to your kids, to your work, to your spouse, to your own personal day to day. And that you're developing that with every single step up to 19,000 plus feet. But at the same time, when you reach that summit, you can't help but show emotion into what you've accomplished. That's rewarding for us in itself, to know that we could actually help people tap into a deeper sense of themselves, to be able to do that and then be able to take their lives to another level following the climb itself.
Yes, for me. So when I did the trek, I was journaling every day and posting on Facebook pictures and feeling like, I'm not just putting pictures and saying, hey, we just hit there. It's like, how do you feel, and this and that, and the amount of people like in my network that were liking and commenting was also, again, it was a little bit motivating for me to keep going, because the words of encouragement from them, wishing that they were there. And then when I came back, my daughter said to me, she goes, Daddy, the whole city's talking about you. I go, what are you talking about? She goes, no, everyone's talking about what you're doing and how high you are, and it wasn't from smoking. No, I'm just kidding. But it was, and I was like, whoa, and I would bump into people and they were talking to me. It would be like they were talking to me as if when I talk to you and you are who you are, Sean, and what you've done. And I'm like, what are you talking about? I just did that. And they're like, it's huge. It's like, it's one of the world wonders. When you do something like that, what would you say? Most people in their lives, percentage wise, don't do big things, right? It's a select few or a handful of people that actually go out and do stuff like that. And it's how do you get more people to go and do it? Because, well, the reason is, why are we doing it? Life changing, different perspective.
It is. I think Sean wants to share something. Sean, did you want to say something to that?
I did. No. I forget what it was, but I think
it
was along the lines of, like, you using, like, it's a great metaphor for what you do, because so many times when we get to the top, it never fails. One or two people in the group always come up to me and they say, thank you so much for getting me here. And my answer is always the same. I didn't get you here. Exactly. I didn't get you here. And there are so many people who talk about things that they want to do. There are people who talk about what they want to do and people who do what they talk about.
So it's,
and these are the people that we want to help.
Walk the walk. Yeah, you want to does both, right?
Yeah. I don't think people are living at their. I think it comes down to standards and what they believe could be, or they should do something, but they still really limit their potential. And I think we mentioned this earlier at the top, but the idea is that's another reason why when you go do something like this, even this, just this, or something comparable in your own life, when you can elevate your standards or what's possible within yourself, it unlocks so much. It unlocks to, I'm not going to be afraid to do that presentation when I get back, even though I fear public speaking. I'm not going to fear picking up the phone or texting that person that I met 2 weeks ago. Why have I been avoiding that when I need to? What do I have to lose? There is so much that could be unlocked that could lead to so many different further adventures in life, not necessarily in the wilderness and on paths, but what's possible on your own journey and your own life path. And that's what's so incredible. And when we come together and we're working with people every step of the way, every single day we work with people on a one-on-one basis and as a group. You talked about journaling. We actually embrace that and we prompt inward self-awareness, dialogue, and value-driven conversations they could have with themselves and have with each other when we climb. So we integrate strategic coaching from what Sean and I bring to the table. This is what makes this unique compared to any other expedition on Mount Kilimanjaro and other climbs. And that's why we love being able to help unlock what people first of all see of themselves, but secondly what they could see of themselves beyond the next step. And it's amazing what we learn from each other, even through the open conversations. I know it went off again, but I don't want to share
well, that's what happens. You go up, but and again, when you it's also when you come home, that stays with you for a long time. I mean,
Yes.
I look at the pictures all the time just as a reinforcement to keep thinking and not to forget, because when you get into your regular life, a day, a week, a month passes. And I made it a purpose. I don't want to forget. I want to keep living in that moment, that feeling, because there's so much stuff around us that just, goes sideways, or the unexpected that's not good, or anxiety, stress, depression, call it what you want. I mean, I can't even watch the news anymore because I want to jump out the window, right? I want to go back to watching cartoons because those were the days when nothing really mattered and all you do is laugh. And it was good. But wow. Okay, so we're going to close it up a little. Final words of encouragement from you guys to anyone who's listening.
I would just wrap it up as, first of all, saying I gotta go. I have another phone call right now, but I would say join us on Kilimanjaro, because you won't just conquer a mountain, you'll discover the strength to conquer anything in your life.
Awesome. Niall, anything you want to end before I cut us?
I just want to put double quotes around that. And at the same time, if there's any other questions that anyone might have, or if they just want to do a self-exploration to find out more about themselves, feel free to reach out to Warren here or reach out to either Sean and I, and we'd be glad to be able to have a conversation. But thank you, Warren, for sharing. Gives us to be able to talk this out, and think about this and share this. Not only the mountain, but what comes with life adventures, transformative travel, and especially adventure is incredible. And I wish more people could see it.
Oh, unfortunately, sometimes it takes things in people's lives that aren't so good to make them see to see other things and things that they should do and they should try. So, which is really what got me here and a whole bunch of other stuff. But as the group comes together, I'll be happy to share more of my experiences and what brought me here. To you guys, thank you for the time. I am so looking forward to getting up on the hill for all the experiences, the people, and then eventually reaching the summit for that picture. But that'll be the last thing we do. Anybody who has any interest, please reach out to me. I'll be posting this. There'll be links on there. Everyone will be tagged. Any questions, call me, and you'll be seeing a lot more of this as we go, because I'm going to be promoting this like crazy, because that's something everyone else should do. Gentlemen, thank you again, and appreciate it.
Really
Great.
appreciate it.